I am homeschooling on Easy Street, and you can too. But at first, it's probably gonna suck a bit. Welcome back to Making Everyday Magic. My name is Shanna, and if you are new here, we are a homeschooling family of 4. We are in our 7th year of homeschooling. Actually, the last quarter of our 7th year of homeschooling. We're planning for our 8th year. We have a current 6th and 2nd graders. So, let's talk about homeschooling on Easy Street. Guys, before we go any further, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me right on down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. I am not going to lie to you. Homeschooling is hard. It is. You are shouldering the burden of your child's education. That is a lot of pressure. And a lot of people, honestly, don't rise up to the task. They either don't plan well or stay consistent or follow through. And it is a very, very scary thing to take your child's education out of the hands of the professionals and to bring it home, into your home. So it's hard. It is so hard. It's hard to know what to do. It's hard to know what the right choices are, which you never will. It is hard to shoulder this burden, and it is even harder to make it through the hard times. But I am here to tell you that you can, and with a little luck, and a little bit of direction, you absolutely will. I want you to remember, I am not an expert. I only come here and share what works for me. My entire goal with starting this channel 4 years ago, So I am filming this right before Leap Day, and I think my very first video on this channel was about Leap Day. I'm gonna have to go back and look, but I'm pretty sure. I'm not an expert. I have exactly no teaching history under my belt. I don't even have a college degree. I have a license to do hair, but I have a very strong passion for education. I am incredibly passionate about giving my children, two girls, the absolute best education that I possibly can, that absolute best education that is available to them, to send them out into the world to make the world a better place. That's my goal. I'm passionate about it, and I love coming here and sharing about it because when I started my journey, secular voices were none. And we need a place. We need a place where we can band together, because I knew that every single homeschool person I saw on YouTube and the interwebs, they didn't choose homeschool for the reasons I did. And they didn't homeschool like I did. And they don't have the same motivations. And I knew that there had to be more people like me out there. And there are. If you can tell, our audience here is knocking on 7,000. Don't forget to subscribe. But it is growing, and more people are choosing homeschooling because it is an amazing, amazing opportunity to make an educational experience for your child. And it is becoming increasingly popular. So we are growing at an amazing rate, and it is wonderful, and it is all good. And I have done this, as I have stated, for 7 years, which means what? I've gone through the hard times and found the amazing times. I 100% am homeschooling on Easy Street. Now, what does that mean? It means that I love our homeschool life. Absolutely love it. I rarely find a struggle or a difficulty that's not pretty easily remedied with a little bit of our past experience. So it is easy. Not always. I'm not saying there's not hard days or things that don't work or things that don't fit. But what I am saying is that I have learned a few things that I want to come here and share with you so that you can move through the hard times a little faster and get to homeschooling on Easy Street just like I am. And I'm going to tell you those things that made an absolutely huge difference for our homeschool, allowed me to fall in love with our homeschool, and allowed us to feel like we're homeschooling on Easy Street. There's no longer any doubt in my mind that this is the right decision and path for us. I look ahead to next year, and I'm not debating whether or not we should still homeschool. I'm debating on how we're going to homeschool. What's it going to look like? What's our curriculum going to look like? So I want to take you by the hand, bring you through the dark times into this wonderful place in the sun where I am. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how I got here, how I'm here, and how you can be too. 1, it's gonna be hard. It is hard for you, maybe right now. And it's gonna be hard again. Things get hard when things change. So either the start of a new year, picking up after a holiday, adding in more learners when your other kids kind of age into your school system. It's hard now, and it's gonna be hard again. I want to remind you that comparison is the thief of joy. So don't forget that what people show you isn't the full story. Even I try a genuinely true, real, authentic experience, the good and the bad. I by no means put everything out here for you. So it still is a filtered and jaded experience, even with my best of intentions being to show you what real life is like for us. It still is filtered. So I want to remind you, because when I come here and I talk about things and I'm like, oh, this works for us. And I try to always specify that this works for us, not that you should do this, because that isn't fair. I don't know your situation. I can only explain my situation as best as I can, and then let you know what did work for us. So I want you to remember that when I'm saying things, I am homeschooling on easy street. You may not be. So it either may not resonate and it may not be something that works for you, but this is where I'm going to remind you that it is very important to self-assess. I have done this with enough experience to know the kinds of things that I am looking for in our homeschooling experience. I have 2 children. I homeschool both of them, a 2nd grader and a 6th grader. I do not have any longer toddlers or babies. I did go through that. I do have homeschooling a 4-year-old, how to homeschool multiple kids, all of those things here on this channel, because that's how long I've been sharing here, is the entirety of my first child's, or my second child's homeschool experience. The entirety of it is here on this channel. So you can find those videos here with a little search. These are the ways that I fell in love with our homeschool, which makes me feel like I am homeschooling on easy street. I figured out the way that schooling our children needed to work for me. So you guys know I'm self-employed. I work from home. I wasn't always, when my oldest was first starting out, I was still in the salon. But I found ways to have our homeschooling experience fit our lives. Now, when we first started, we used a distance-based program, and somebody told me everything that needed to happen. And if any of you have any experience with the virtual schooling of the COVIDs, I imagine it is most closely like that. Still not anything like that, but most closely like that to any of the experience that I have, where somebody else tells you what to teach, and then kind of checks in to make sure that you've done that. We weren't still stuck with like super hard and fast, like day schedules or anything like that by any means. But I imagine that is my closest experience to virtual learning, distance-based learning, that I can relate to. And that just wasn't for us. So embracing the freedom of homeschooling and going fully unaccredited and rogue and out on our own, because we started with the desire to kind of keep our homeschool as closely in parallel to public school as possible while we figured out if we had good footing. And we did. So we branched out and went rogue. Something that I know helps me an absolute ton is my time management. My time management has saved me, and I know, and when I look at other people's homeschools or hear other homeschool complaints, it almost always comes down to a lack of time management, that allocation of time, because you've got to keep up with it. You've got to stay on it. And for me, making the plans ahead of time ensures that it's easier, even if we get off track, it's easier to fall back in line, which keeps me a bit more sane in our homeschooling journey. Makes me feel good. I know when we're reaching those milestones for, end of 3rd quarter, keeps me on track for the end of the year where I want to be. Those things help me. Being able to tailor my kids' education to each child was also absolutely huge. So knowing their learning styles. They both excel in different areas. My youngest one is a grade level ahead in both math and reading. And my oldest one is just, well, she might actually be a grade level ahead in language arts now. I don't know. It gets a little wishy-washy in homeschool. You guys know that. So by allowing them to speed up when they can, when they want to, and slow down when they need to, I'm able to meet my children exactly where they are. And I know that improves our homeschooling experience because it is not a struggle. It's easy. It allows our homeschooling to be easy because I am meeting them where they are. I'm not trying to put them into the same framework that their other sister is in or where their public school counterparts are in. I'm tailoring it. 100% to them what they need, what their life is like, where they are, what their capabilities are, how they're feeling that day. And that makes it an absolutely huge difference. It's not the bitter back and forth struggle. Now, it's really important for me, and again, we've got a lot of experience doing this, understanding what my kids need, but also knowing my limits. So for me, I enjoy teaching a lot of subjects together and not just reading verbatim out of a textbook. That doesn't suit me very well, my style of person, but also it doesn't suit my kids very well. It is one of those things where you have to be able to reconcile what is going to suit you as a person, so as their teacher, but also find the place where the needs of your learner, that little like Venn diagram, that little both of us common spot, that's where you need to be aiming all of your efforts. So if you are, well, I am a very busy person. I like standing, I like talking, I talk really fast, I like to move around a lot. If I were somebody who didn't do well in that environment, but my kid did and was like moving, I mean, those two things would work against each other and it would be very hard to get anything done. So what I have to do is find something that works for me that is also really good for my kid, because remember, we are always in service to our learner. Our job as the educator is to be in service to our learner, to make sure that our learners are getting everything that they need out of their education, because honestly, it's so much more important to make sure that our learners get what they need because it's their education, right? Right. So now, because I do have so many years of experience under my belt, I know where we should do group classes or where we should do individual things or where we should use a textbook or maybe where we shouldn't. Something else that has helped me, and it's a process that I'm always going through, is getting rid of the need to do it all. I don't need to do every page in the book, and I don't need to read every word in the teacher's guide. I also don't need to try to make sure that my kids are doing every single thing that might be happening in the brick and mortar down the street. I'm doing what works for us. I adhere to my state standards, and that's it. I'm giving them the best I possibly can, but I'm also not trying to do it all. And even if there are things that you want to do, I'm super guilty of this still. I don't have to do it all right now. We can save some for next year. We could do a little less. We don't need to do 3 sciences this year, Shanna. Yeah, still guilty of it, still guilty of it. Ooh, the next big thing that helps me feel like I'm on easy street, I have to let go of control. I do. It's a struggle, but the less that I try to hold it tighter, the less they're trying to break free. There are a lot of things that are hard for me because the way that my brain will process shortcuts in math has never once resonated for my oldest. And so I have to let that go. Sometimes I will try to explain it a way that for me is so simple because my brain forms that path. Hers does not. So that's when I know I've got to tap in Dad, because his brain tends to relate more to her in math. He's also like wicked crazy math whiz. Something that helps me have an amazing, enjoyable homeschool experience, I get input from my kids. I know. What do you think about this? How do you feel like it's going? What kind of things do you want to learn? What style of that do you want to learn? Does this look interesting to you? We're 6 weeks in. How's it feeling? This feels rough. What do you think? These are all things that we need to be doing, again, because we're in service to our learner. We can drop, change, swip, swap anytime. There's no reason that we should all be trudging along. This brings me into my next topic of I've learned, and this is a super important life skill that is often overlooked because we're always taught, just do it, just persevere, tough it out. No, it is equally, maybe more important to know when to quit, people. You don't have to do all of this. It shouldn't suck. Yes, there's going to be hard times, absolutely. But if every single day sucks, change something. Okay, and I have said this before and I will say it again, especially as curriculum season comes upon us. It is relatively easy to figure out if you should change the way you are using something or if you should abandon it altogether. And I'm going to give you that tip right now. Okay, this is going to be the biggest takeaway you ever take from any video. Know when to quit. If you look at your curriculum, you look at your science curriculum, for example, like we did, and I say, this isn't serving me. What could I change? How could I tweak this? And I can pinpoint ways to make it easier on us. That tells me that I just need to change the way I'm using it. You don't have to use it as prescribed, people. You do not. It is yours. You paid for it. You do what you want. If I can figure out how to tweak it to make it better for us, that means I need to tweak it to make it better for us. If I cannot possibly wrap my brain around how this would get any better, I need to burn it, okay? Are you listening to me? That is a quitter. You quit that. If you can figure out how to change it to make it better, try it. If that doesn't work and then you can't think of anything else, then you burn it. You see what I'm saying? If you can make it better in your brain easily, you can think, hey, if I did A, then we could get through that. Yes, do that. If you cannot possibly think of any way that your life will ever be improved by continuing to do this thing, you hate it, your kids hate it, you hate your kids when you're using it, your kids hate you when you're using it, burn it, okay? You quit it shamelessly because it was not serving you. It failed you. It did a bad job. It's not that you chose poorly, you thought you were doing your best. It is not that you spent money on it, you need to finish it. Absolutely not. This piece of curriculum that you have hired for this job failed you. It was a bad employee and you need to fire it. Kick it out, okay? I know that feels extreme, but I want you to hear it. Hear it loud and proud. That is how you know when to quit. Pivot versus quit, that's how you know. Ooh, that could be a whole video. Something else that is really important for me that has made homeschool awesome and amazing is I keep the fun in homeschool. How do I do that? We take off some days randomly and we go do fun homeschool days at Galveston Island Pleasure Pier, SeaWorld San Antonio, what else? Everything. If I can find a reason to cut school and go do something fun, I absolutely do it. You know why? Because I'm good at time management, so I've built those days in. And that's in a planning video, before and coming up. But we keep it fun. We go to the zoo, we schedule play dates, and those take precedence sometimes over learning days, and that's okay. Not all the time, you can't do that. But it is important to keep the fun in homeschool. It's the whole reason we do this stuff, okay? So keep your fun in your homeschool, and that's something I've really gotten a lot better at, and it's because I've got this, sense of security, like we're cool, we're good, we know what we're doing. So adding in classes at the Science Museum, making sure we're taking field trips, doing fun things, it's very important to keep the fun in your homeschool. I think that's it. I think it's all I wanted to say to you. And I hope it's helpful. But I know that is how I got to now. The last 7 years, these are the lessons that I have learned along the way that I know have gotten me to where I am now when I feel like I not only love our homeschool, our kids love our homeschool. We are homeschooling on Easy Street. This is a way of life we can't fathom being without. We celebrate the freedom of it. We enjoy it. We like each other. It's serving us well. That's how we got to now, and I want you to be here with me. So, guys, I hope that you found any of this helpful, entertaining, or informative. If you did, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me right on down in the comments or over on Instagram. While you are down there, share with me. Where are you? Are you square one? You're miserable. It sucks. You don't know what's happening. Are you in the middle? You can see the horizon. The sun is coming up. It's feeling glorious. You're getting warmth on your face. Are you on the top of the mountain with me where it's just like, yeah, which don't get me wrong. There's always going to be a little backslide. That's how it works. So it's coming for me. I hear it. But when you're up there and there's a party, and that's okay. And don't worry, I'll share the backslide too. Why? Because I do genuinely try to share real life with you. But again, none of us are great at that. So welcome to Easy Street, guys. I hope you're here with me. Bye.